Welcome everyone to the latest episode of Pokeball, where we have Nachiket Patil, and today's topic is questioning the government and its response towards COVID-19 crisis. Everyone is happy with the current government, more or less, regarding the response, how we have been put in a lockdown, and it's a bold decision from their side, and this has never happened before. And our numbers aren't as bad as outside. As you can see, in the US, they have crossed a lakh people infected with coronavirus, but India is not even 1,000 as of now, if I'm not wrong. Nachiket, why do you think this is happening, and why do you think the Indian government has actually not done a good job when it comes to the COVID response?
To begin with, I would like to point out we crossed 1,000 positive tests earlier today, like I guess half an
Oh,
hour ago. So
okay.
we hit 1,000 cases. So apart from that, I think the government, and not only the Indian government, I think a lot of governments around the world fail to be proactive, right? Uh,
Okay.
so this thing started around 2019. That's why it's called the COVID-19, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can understand China not being prepared for it, right? Because China did not expect this to happen. But even I can understand the next country. I think the next country was Italy, right? So I can even understand Italy not being fairly prepared for it. But all the other countries, I think no one in the government all over the world has been proactive about this. I think leaving South Korea, no one has taken this seriously. UK hasn't taken it seriously. Boris Johnson was just heard
Yeah.
saying this is
He has
not.
been, yeah.
Yeah, no. Before being diagnosed, he was heard saying this is not serious. You can go out for a jog, right? And
Mhm.
you don't need to worry so much. Trump did not take it seriously, right? In fact, there's a video where Trump is found scratching his eye in a press conference after he's
Okay.
told everyone to be precautious. Uh,
Yeah.
right. So my the first time I understood the seriousness, at least theoretically, is when I heard this interview by Dr. Ramanan. I think Lakshmi Narayan, his name is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he went around saying like India can expect around 600 to 800 million cases, and that is a huge
Wow.
number,
That's
right?
that's
That's a
a huge.
huge number.
That's half our
That's,
population.
yeah, that's 60% of our population, right? So he
Okay.
said India should expect around 800 million patients, and 80% out of which would be like they wouldn't even need a treatment. Like, but still,
Mm.
20% of 800 million is still a large number. It's
Yeah.
16 million people, out of which 2% would die. So it's still a fairly large number for comprehension, right? But
Yeah.
even back when you were saying this, no one in the government was taking this seriously. Do you know when the first case for COVID-19 was detected in India?
I think it was February end.
It was back on 30th January. All right.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Okay.
okay, it was back on 30th January, and by 5th, I think we had our fifth positive case by around 3rd March. I think 3rd March or 2nd March. I'm not completely sure, but by second or 3rd March, we already had 5 cases, right?
Hmm.
Um, but so at this point, right? I'm speaking only about India right now. Uh,
Mhm.
for a country like India, it was never about whether the pandemic is going to if the pandemic is going to hit the country. It was about when, right?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, with having airports like Bombay Airport and Delhi Airport, like obviously you
Mhm.
expect a lot of international travelers, right?
Yeah.
And so it was always about when the pandemic is going to hit the country, and the fact that we did not prepare accordingly is really baffling to me, right? Because as I said, 5th March tak, 5 patients were already there. Sorry,
Mm.
2nd March. Sorry, not 2nd March. I think somewhere in February we had 5 cases already, right?
Okay.
So we
Okay.
should have been prepared for it.
Okay.
But throughout the first 2 weeks of March, nothing of seriousness came from either governments. No serious measures were taken either by the state governments or the central government. The Janta curfew came around March 22nd, as I said before. So I think that was already too late. I think we should have started with
But at
isolation.
least the state government, the Maharashtra government, did announce it on, I think, the 18th itself.
Yeah,
The Maharashtra government did announce a 10-day or 12-day lockdown, right? Didn't
again,
it?
but still a month had already been passed since the first. Like even if they declared it on 1st March, a month had already been passed since the first case was detected in
Yeah,
Kerala.
see, so here's the thing. If the first case has been detected in a country of 1.3 billion people,
Mhm.
you can't expect everything to be shut down because one dude is down with something or five
Obviously,
people are down with
obviously,
something.
I'm not saying the country should have been in lockdown. I'm saying
Yeah.
they should have started taking precautions. Like, for example, they could have started sourcing masks, right?
Hmm.
They could have started building ventilators. They could have
Fair,
started creating economic packages for the poor, for the homeless,
fair.
which not,
So you're basically saying
yeah,
thought out planned
yeah,
approach.
obviously, I'm not asking for a lockdown the day the first patient is detected. I'm saying you should
Hmm.
have started preparing. But in India, like nothing of that sort was happening, right? I think Mahindra and Maruti have started building ventilators just
Ventilators, yes. The
right?
Mahindras have the Reliance
Reliance.
Industries has built its own hospital, COVID specific hospital.
Uh,
Mahindras are constantly producing medical equipment, not just ventilators, multiple equipments which will be used by the medical fraternity in this war against COVID. And of course, Maruti is producing, and which is in line with what's happening world over, right? Like all these
yeah,
manufacturing
yeah. I
based
think
companies,
even
they are pitching in.
McLaren is making ventilators now. Ferrari is
Yeah,
making
yeah, yeah.
ventilators now. So everyone's
Absolutely.
making ventilators now. But I'm saying is, and I'm not only talking about the Indian government or state governments. I'm talking about everyone, like world over, right?
Yeah.
It was declared as a pandemic on 12th March, I think 12th March or 10th March. I don't remember the date, but 2 weeks into March, it was declared a global pandemic. So anyone who's been slow after that is being caught with their pants down. South Korea was very good with it. And again, the other steps, apart from building ventilators and forming economic packages, you could have started building. I don't know how tests work now. Okay, I this
There are multiple ways of testing
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
but
there are
yeah, yeah.
I know there are multiple ways of testing, but I don't know how the procedure for generating a testing kit is done. I don't know if you need a per patient in the country for testing kit to be tested, sorry,
Hmm.
manufactured. But I think even India should have started developing their own testing kits
I
from.
don't think it's that easy because I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, Spain and Italy
Hmm.
both currently have been returning back almost 500,000 testing kits, because and I think even masks because those things are faulty and they were provided by China.
China, obviously,
Can you
obviously.
imagine?
Yeah, yeah,
Can you
yeah.
imagine?
I know.
This
But
is shocking.
as I said, I don't know much about testing, right? I
Yeah, so
don't
fair.
know
So
about
we'll
it.
not go over there.
I'm
And
not
I
involved.
also know that there are multiple, like if you see Abbott has come up, they claim to come up with tests, like a new testing machine, which will
Mhm.
give a positive result in 5 minutes and a negative result in 12 minutes or something. So the Abbott is the closest when it comes to the medical fraternity in providing at least testing acceleration. Okay. No one
Mhm.
is even close to a vaccine. The vaccine will easily take another year or so,
Year and a
if I'm not
half.
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
year
a
and
year
a
and a
half.
half, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's a vaccine, it needs to go through multiple checks and balances,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the
Testing
process
needs
is
to be
long.
done.
Absolutely, the side effects है कि नहीं देखना
Yeah.
पड़ेगा. You can't just release it like that.
Yes,
So that is
absolutely.
there. See, while you claim that the government hasn't done anything in terms of sourcing ventilators and all that jazz, right?
Mhm.
My question is maybe they have, and I'm playing devil's advocate, right? Like I have criticized the government in terms of the migrant crisis which is happening in North India right now,
Mhm.
correct? And I think we will touch upon that
Yeah.
very soon. But I think in the background they were doing something, and probably they were also looking at other countries. Okay, what is the US doing? What is the UK doing? And I think they have failed. Both the countries have failed majorly. Spain and Italy are paying through blood right now, which is so unfortunate.
I
People
think
are dying.
I think Italy has
Every day
crossed
I wake up,
1,000 patients deaths.
every every day I wake up, I see 800 people died in Spain, 900 people died in Italy. These are not good things to read about. And
Mhm.
can you imagine what must be happening in those countries? And I mean, in those countries, I mean, sorry to say, but they value life more than we value it over here, because those are rookie numbers in India, and outside over there, those numbers are shocking. And the economy is taking a huge hit. Humanitarian crisis तो हो ही गया है. This is their world war. Again, like a redux sort of a thing.
Yeah, obviously, this is as bad as the World War if you completely
Yeah,
look at it. Like, it
all
is.
football has been stopped. The only football that is being played is Belarus. Okay, which is I don't even know why they are doing that, but good for
And
them if they are like happy with it and they're
it's not
staying
only
safe about
football. I think all the sports have been shut down,
everything. Everything has been shut
right?
down. Absolutely everything has been shut
Formula
down.
One
And I'm
is down, football's down, IPL has been cancelled,
completely Olympics postponed by a year,
Olympics
Euros
postponed
postponed
by
by a year.
yeah, Eurosport.
Yeah.
So,
See, I'll tell you, while all of this is happening, the Olympics just got postponed like 3, 4, 5 days ago.
yeah.
Okay. Like until 5 days ago, these guys are like, ha, khelenge, dikhte, dikhte, dikhte. Then Canada and Australia were the first two countries to pull out. And it is after those countries pulling out, this did the Japanese come forward and say, hey, you know what? We are postponing it by a year, which should have happened long back. So I don't think there has been
But
any government which
but
has
there's a
covered itself in glory.
but there's a lot of time for Olympics to take place. Olympics is in June, I think. So the
No,
problem with
no, no, no.
yeah,
I'm sorry, no. I
when
know it's June. I'm just saying, like, enough time for what?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's the like,
yeah,
come on.
I understand that. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying the situation is so fluid, right?
Yeah,
No one really knows what's going to
yeah.
happen, right?
I think Japan has handled the numbers decently well. So has South Korea. South Korea has tested the hell out of people.
South
Same
Korea.
with Germany.
Do you know how many? I think South Korea has one of the highest testing per million.
No,
Uh,
it is the highest per capita. South Korea is the highest,
I think
along
it's
with
around
Germany.
six. I think it's around 6,000.
Yeah, but their per
Yeah,
capita they are the highest. Per
highest. Yeah.
capita they are the highest. By volume, I think the US is the highest.
Do you
By
know what?
volume.
Do you know how many testings per million are being conducted in India?
Yeah, I'm sure it is like some abysmal number with multiple zeros after a dot.
It was 9.8 till last week, and it's jumped to 20 now. That is another reason I don't believe the numbers that are coming out yet.
Yeah, that's a very good topic you came up with. Believing the testing numbers, in
I
India,
do
but
not
many people
I do not believe in testing numbers of any of the countries.
I believe in the testing numbers of India, and I'll give you a very good reason why. Okay, so
No, no,
let
I'm
me.
not denying the testing numbers in India. I'm not.
Okay, the actual numbers,
I'm
actual
talking about the
numbers.
actual numbers.
Yeah, 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 I know.
I don't think there are only 86,000 patients in China. That's stupid. I don't believe
Forget
that.
those guys, right? Forget those guys. I mean, there will be there will be huge discussions about the role of China in this one. Okay, like we are not even gonna go there.
Mhm.
Now the thing is, although Wuhan has reopened, flights to Wuhan have reopened, and multiple reports have come out where we are being told that look how China has controlled this crisis, and maybe your country can do the same. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. It leaves a very bad taste in everyone's mouth when
Mhm.
we start talking about something like this and whatever. The only thing is, if you're talking about the 800, 900, or 1000 ka number which we have reached apparently of the corona infected people in India, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
You dispute those numbers is what you are saying.
I don't dispute those numbers. I think there are a thousand people who've been tested positive.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
What
But
I'm saying
there are
is,
many people who are saying there
what
are
I'm
actually
saying,
10,000. Many
no,
people are saying it's not 1,000, it's actually 10,000 people who are infected in India, or more than that.
what I'm saying is, I'm quite sure there are more than 1,000 patients in India already who've not just been tested. That's it.
Fair.
That's
Obviously, but वो 1,000 का 1,200 होगा 1,500 होगा. I don't think it will be 10,000 is what I'm trying to say. You got it?
I honestly I wouldn't know, but I know only one thing is it's going to keep rising from now on. Like
I don't think so because I'll tell you what. Okay, we have controlled it as much as possible. Getting 1.3 billion people in a lockdown is insane, man. And let me tell you something. Okay, maybe he was late, maybe the way it was done was wrong. Like, for example, in Italy, it was leaked that there will be a lockdown, okay?
mhm,
And in South Africa, they announced beforehand that, boss, there is going to be a lockdown in 48 hours' time, prepare yourself,
mhm,
okay? So it was managed much better, apparently. So that's what I'm looking online. There is another school of thought in this that which says that if you give people a heads up about a lockdown,
mhm,
they will intermingle anyway. Okay, so that is why it had to be done in a rough manner, in a abrupt manner. And by the way, because it was leaked that there will be a lockdown in Italy, people started running helter skelter, and people from the north basically went to the south and or whatever. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but people exchanged places in Italy.
mhm.
Basically, they traveled so much and they infected the other parts also. because
Obviously.
they were worried about the lockdown coming over. So
Which
maybe doing it in a abrupt manner. See, there is no winning over here. Okay, there is no right solution to any of this which is happening because come on, who would have known that the 2020 summer will be overtaken by a bloody virus which is killing people and there is no vaccine for it? It's incredible to think about it. But let me tell you about the number thingy, right? I'm
mm,
telling you, if there are, I'm hearing a lot of people saying that we are hiding the real numbers. India is hiding the real numbers. Now, let me tell you something. I don't think India is capable of hiding anything. I think we are one of the world's most gossip mongering nations in the
yeah,
history of
I've
humanity.
already heard this argument. This is a podcast you recorded, released
Exactly.
day
Yeah.
after, right? No,
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about. I
I
do
know what
not,
I'm
I am
talking about.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would find out चुगली खोर करके कि बॉस इधर किसी को कुछ हुआ
नहीं
इसको
नहीं,
लेके जाओ.
चुगली करके तो ऑब्वियसली आई एम नॉट डिनाइंग, चुगली करके तो मालूम पड़ेगा, बट वो सरकारी आंकड़ा विल रिमेन द सेम इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. आई एम टॉकिंग
Oh, so you're saying they're
ओनली.
suppressing the real numbers,
Yeah, I'm
but
talking
they're
about
feeding
the
you.
point. I'm talking about the direct point of estimate, which is going to be the government number, which is going to be released. Right. I do not even trust,
Hmm.
as I said before, I don't even trust China has only 86,000 patients. That's unrealistic.
Yeah,
That's not.
30,000 to New York में,
Yeah.
30,000 40,000 to New York में
Exactly.
मैंने देखा.
Exactly. So I don't do not believe that number at all. And why I think that's a bad thing is because just because China lied about those numbers, the rest of the world I think could not completely comprehend how serious this shit is going to be. Right?
I think we need to talk about the role of the World Health Organization in this. Like, I think in February or something or late Jan, these guys had mentioned that this is not it cannot be passed from human to human. No need to worry about this
Yeah,
virus. Everything is under control.
but again, that even I'm not saying WHO is right or wrong. I'm just saying, but no one really knew the characteristics of this virus. I'm quite sure we still don't comprehend the complete properties. I don't know what
Hmm.
the medical term for that is, but the
Yeah.
complete characteristics or properties of this virus is going to be. I think that there will be more research which will clear more things out. Like I still hear rumors like it spreads through air, and I'm
Oh
like,
fuck.
"क्या मतलब ऐसे तो है नहीं," but whatever.
Then if I just hope nothing of that's what happens because literally we are armed with a prayer. Think about it. In
Yeah,
this case, we are armed with prayer.
if it spreads by air, I don't think even a lockdown will help. So,
Yeah.
like everyone
Yeah.
would need an N95 mask, right? Uh,
Yeah, I hope it. I mean, so are you going out of the house like to buy groceries, or are you getting it delivered? What's the scene over there? How's your quarantine going?
I go down to feed the dogs of the area. That's it.
Mhm.
And
That's it. What about your groceries and all?
like that is once every 2 3 days, but the store is just downstairs, right?
Fair, same,
Luckily,
absolutely same, same.
luckily,
Once
like
in
the
three
store
days.
is just downstairs. Once in 2 3 days, mom steps out, she buys things, she comes back. I go alternate evenings, I feed the dogs.
Hmm.
That's it. But coming back to the main part,
Hmm.
is as I was saying, I don't think the problem I find with the lockdown being so sudden is no one knew what to
Hmm.
do, right? And now it is very easy for you and I to say कि ठीक है lockdown कर दिया, dude. We have a home to go back to, right?
Hmm.
You and I don't have to worry about rent, right? Even if we
Yeah,
did pay in
yeah,
rented houses, I don't think either of us are so financially not well to do that we
yeah.
कल का
You're
like next.
privileged.
Yeah, we are
In
privileged.
a country like ours, we are ultra privileged.
Yeah,
Like that
exactly.
hasn't been lost on me. I have mentioned it in my prior broadcast also. We are ultra
Yeah.
privileged in that
I know
case.
that. I know that. But my point is, I think before the lockdown being implemented, see, the lockdown was implemented because the government realized this is going to get shitty. Correct. All right.
Hmm.
That is the only reason. If they already know it was going to get shitty, they would have released the economic packages first. Right. They could
Hmm.
have all this and dude. To say that oh government couldn't figure it out and they wouldn't know is a very irresponsible as of a person as a citizen because it is literally their job to do it. It's like
Hmm.
saying the doctor को नहीं पता होगा ये सब. Dude, that's not the point. The government is responsible to handle crisis like this. To be honest, 22nd March को जब लॉकडाउन डिक्लेयर हुआ मध्य प्रदेश was still fucking around with politics. ठीक है.
I saw that. I saw
So
that.
no,
Shivraj Singh Chauhan assuming the government.
I will question them
Yeah,
because
you have every right to. You have every right to.
I will question because 23rd tak they were trying to pull down MP. At 23rd they succeeded in pulling the MP government down. ठीक है.
Yeah.
My problem is this was not systematic enough. This should have been a systematic process, right? Ki you first release an economic package because you will have to do it anyway. You after
Uh,
the lockdown or before the lockdown, you have to do. It's better you do it before. You start relief camps before, right? Change stadiums into relief centers. Change railway stations
mm,
into relief. Imagine if
yeah.
every local station in Bombay acts as a small relief station for the homeless and people who have nowhere to go.
Finally, something good will come out of
Yeah,
Kurla station, but
yeah,
yeah.
dude. And listen, and this is I'm sticking only to Bombay right now because I don't know bahar kitne railway stations hote hain and whatnot. But as a
Mm,
citizen of Mumbai for the last 26 years, I think no,
mm,
I've been always in Bombay or Thane. So as 28 years as a citizen, there are I
mm,
think around 60 to 80 stations in Bombay easily. Okay,
yeah.
evenly
Yeah.
spaced out. Okay,
Hmm.
and this is not a solution only for a global pandemic. Dude, Bombay shuts down 2 days every year. ठीक है monsoon में. No one can deny that.
That's true.
Bombay,
More than that
oh
sometimes.
yeah, more than that sometimes. But on an average, if you take the last 10
On an
years,
average, two.
on
Two,
an
two,
average,
two.
two
Minimum.
days per year shutdown hota hai Bombay. I
Yes,
think it
it
would be a
does.
very good idea for like for eternity if railway stations can be converted into makeshift relief centers for people who are stuck in a crisis, right? it
Fair.
it just makes it easier to manage. Like it's I understand that no government can ever be prepared for a global pandemic,
Mm,
but there has to be certain level of preparedness which I'm not satisfied with. That's
fair,
the
fair.
point I'm making, because dude, you're still trying to carry out political gamble in a state. Imagine in
Yeah.
such a situation there's not a stable government in Madhya Pradesh right now. They still haven't faced the trust vote, right? So it's
Mm,
still not stable. So
mm.
it's just baffling to me how careless this whole process has been.
Fair. That's very fair criticism. That when
I
the
will
concentration should have been, the focus should have been on the COVID crisis. The BJP government, according to you, was deprioritizing it and prioritizing in Madhya Pradesh a power grab. Correct?
I will let go of all my arguments about ventilators not being ready, masks not being available. But dude, MP thing was avoidable. You could have waited a few months. खरीद लिए यार तुम लोग ने वो MPs, दे दिया उन लोगों को, हो गए खुश है वो लोग, मिल गए 5-6 करोड़. It's done. The deal is done. Leave it for some time. Like honestly, I think I don't know if I messaged this to you, but I think 2 weeks back I was having a discussion with a friend. I don't know if it was you, and I said, you know what? I think in the times of a global pandemic and a global crisis like this, I
Mm.
think this is really going to get the world together. It is not. It is clearly not. I know so many people who are not paying their maids.
Oh God, are you
I know
serious?
so many people who are still not paying their maids. And I know a few people who are calling the maids to the house to work.
ब्रो हमारे यहाँ पे तो अलाउड ही नहीं है मतलब आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट हमारे यहाँ पे द ओनली person who has a maid in our entire colony of like 50-60 families, the only person who has a maid is a guy whose grandmother is there who's 80-85 and she can't basically move, right?
Which
So
is
she
fair.
needs a maid.
Which is fair.
तो ये लोग वो लोग उसको बुलाया and apparently they have made her stay, made the maid stay only over there. They have provided her with a room
Listen,
and all everything
this
whatever.
is completely fair. The person I'm talking about, the couple is mid 30s.
नहीं, नहीं, नहीं,
Mid
this is
30s,
not
bro.
done. हमारे कॉलोनी में you can't enter. You know, you can't enter my colony so strict. It's so strict. You can't enter or exit. Even we can't exit without giving a very good reason. You know, and मेरा नंबर नोट डाउन होता है, मेरा घर का नंबर नोट डाउन होता है, मेरा गाड़ी का नंबर नोट डाउन होता है every time I go out. You
So
know, and what time I went in and what time I came
it's
back.
not so strict with us. It's just the gate is locked and there's a bucket of water and sanitizer and a hand wash kept. So if you step out,
Hmm.
you have to come back and wash your hands. Like I don't have to
हम,
do it, but
hmm.
strangers who come in, they have to wash their hands and they
Yeah, I
only
know.
when they are allowed in. Like
I
obviously
know.
they expect me to go back home and wash my hands. Could say.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm
That's
not
true. That's true.
supposed to do that.
हमारे यहाँ पे like we every so the watchman also can't leave, right? वो भी इंसान है यार. Watchmen also
Obviously.
are important. And if you ask me, a watchman in India is a very important person. Okay, like
Mhm.
if you hire someone who's untrustworthy, you're finished.
You're fucked.
ठीक है? You're absolutely fucked. But we are lucky in that sense, like Touchwood, our watchmen are really nice, okay? And we are also nice to them in the sense that यहाँ पे because we have realized कि यार ये लोग कहाँ जाएंगे, इनका खाने पीने का क्या, इनका
Absolutely.
रहने सहने का क्या? So we have like we have shut down the gym and the clubhouse obviously long back,
Mhm.
according to the government orders,
Mhm.
and we have made a makeshift arrangement for them to stay over there.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So वो लोग वहाँ पे सोता है, वहाँ पे ये है, they are here only for the past like 10-15 days now. Will be here for another 1 month easily because I don't think this thing will end on 14th of April. And I'm not kidding. Every day, a different house in our colony provides them with chai, nashta, food, and everything.
All right. Another
Yeah, because उनको
another.
कौन देगा यार?
Oh, that's true. Another thing I have a problem with. The cops were not sensitized about the situation at all.
Oh come on! I don't expect any cop to be
I,
sensitized or desensitized or whatever the hell.
they're
Come on.
they are hitting people as if there's a fucking riot outside.
I
And these
know.
people are criminals.
I know. I posted also today about this, right? The entire country is laughing. If you watch ABP Maza or Z Marathi or whatever, all these news Marathi news channels, they are showing clips of people, men being beaten up across the country, and they're putting cricket commentary on top of it.
Yeah, that is just like I think memes have its boon and like let's not talk about memes, but
No, this is not memes. I'm talking memes as you and I sharing something with each other. We are 20 something. I'm talking about grown ass adults laughing, looking at TV. Like ABP Maza is putting cricket commentary on men being beaten up in the country. It is so naturalized and so normalized. Police brutality is very common for us.
yeah, it
And
is.
I kind of, and honestly, I kind of, I'm in favor in such extreme situations कि bro घर पे नहीं बैठ रहा है तो पेलो लोगों को ठीक है
No,
मतलब
I don't completely agree with that statement. Uh,
yeah.
there are doctors who've been bashed.
Well, that is true. That is true. Obviously there is collateral damage, which is
There's
that.
there's a doctor in Telangana who was returning from a shift late in the night, or she was going to the hospital late in the night for a shift,
Hmm.
and she was sexually assaulted
Shit.
by cops.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and
Oh,
she's trying.
I didn't read this
She
one.
when she showed the she showed her the showed them the ID, and he just flung it away. He's like, yeah, I don't care. So
Fuck.
lot
That's
of
messed up,
lot
bro.
lot of shit. Look, see, this is what I mean by like you can buy smash ko, you can ask people go thali bajao, but more than thali bajao, like they need other kinds of support, which is lacking, and which is lacking because you are trying to overthrow a state government, like just trying to buy MPs during times of a global crisis. So,
Because I'm speaking to people in Australia and
hmm,
they are like, there is still no lockdown. I recently had a meeting with a guy based out of Sweden.
hmm.
Okay, he's in Stockholm. And he was telling me, हाँ यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं उनको बोला गया है don't go out but and we are following it but there is no compulsion so वो लोग chill है अपना what's this Australia में the prime minister is telling them कि boss don't go out but there is no law as such there is no law as such for them to stay inside and I think the worst the most strict, sorry, any country has been in the world is ours after China. Because it's purely because I think we have such a dense population.
That yeah, I was
We
going
are
to
so
point that
densely
out.
populated. Yeah, because we are so densely populated, it
Yeah,
kind of makes sense. But we have had it very rough यार यार न्यूयॉर्क में अभी भी पूरा का पूरा लॉकडाउन कहाँ पे है इन द यूके these guys are अभी ट्रम्प ने जाके बोला कि इन द यूएस की शायद से I'll lock down certain parts of the country I may have to this
no,
and that I
no. San
he's saying it.
San Francisco is already under a lockdown, like 2 weeks back,
Bro,
and the fact
California, yeah, California announced
California,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
California, yes,
California announced
yes,
it.
yes. California announced it. But that's the thing, right? It's other state rights there. Correct. If you know anything about America,
Yeah,
you know their states are quite autonomous.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Texas and California are two opposite ends of the spectrum. Okay. So they have their own thingy. And if you Australia is relaxed, yeah, Europe may there are certain parts like I cannot imagine Sweden में ऐसा लॉ कैसे नहीं है जब इटली एंड स्पेन में लाशें बिछ रही है यार like it's
Let,
shocking.
let me counter that. Uh, you spoke about UK, you spoke about US, you spoke about Australia. They can afford to be lax because one, the population density, and two, the healthcare system.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So a lot of difference between US, UK, and Australia.
Australia, India, and India,
Sweden being lax, I can understand, dude. I am quite sure Sweden's healthcare is very good,
top notch.
top notch.
Yeah,
Norway,
you know
Sweden.
what I was reading? I was reading just yesterday. I read a report where they are saying they are considering bringing back from retirement New York cops. You know, because they need more cops to ensure that people follow social discipline and social
Mhm.
distancing. I mean, can you imagine? Like they are having to call up people who are retired to the task force saying, "Boss, हमसे नहीं हो रहा है, तुम आ जाओ
In
वापस."
fact,
I think this.
even ICMR is doing it in India. They are not doing it for the cops, but they are doing it for the doctors, right?
That's understandable, yeah.
Yeah,
That's understandable because, bro, you and I can form a militia and like we can enforce the rule of law someplace. Okay, that's the meaning of a militia, right?
yeah,
कि तुम अपना एक independent military unit type ऐसा हरकत करोगे and you are vigilante बन के इधर उधर you will enforce a certain code, correct?
yeah,
But you can't do that with a bloody doctor,
yeah. You
correct?
can't.
You and I cannot pretend to be doctors. We can pretend to be cops, like ऐसा डंडा लेके
Yeah,
मार दिया दो लोगों को घर पे बिठा दिया
वो
सबको.
तो हुआ भी था
ऐसा
ना
नहीं
दिल्ली
होता.
में.
Oh yeah, I've heard like दिल्ली में भी
दिल्ली
बहुत
में तो
लफड़े
हुआ
चल
था
रहे हैं.
अभी था नॉर्थ ईस्ट दिल्ली में हुआ था लास्ट मंथ.
Also, speaking of Delhi, what do you think about the migrant crisis in Delhi, man? Like, who's responsible? Do you think like the state government has to take some responsibility in this situation? Lakhs of people sitting over there waiting for buses to pick them
I
up
think
to UP.
I think to be honest, I personally think there was no meeting between the chief ministers of the states and the prime minister. I think Modi just went ahead and announced it without having a consultation with either chief
Any of the chief
ministers. Yeah,
minister?
any of when has Modi ever done something after taking a consultation from the other chief ministers? I don't think he ever
Hmm.
has. So being caught with the pants down for states after the lockdown was announced is understandable because I don't think Modi consulted them at all. But at least for states like Maharashtra and Delhi, they should have been given because like Bombay,
Prior
yeah,
intimation.
like major cities like Hyderabad, Chennai. I don't know how many
Metros.
migrants stay in Kolkata, but yeah, metros basically should have been given early this warnings that this is going to
Yeah.
happen. So you need to take care of the migrant population. Honestly, I don't think they care that much about the lower strata.
Oh God.
They do not. They absolutely do not. Like also another thing that I like is how Uddhav Thackeray comes every few days and he tries to calm people down. I think he's doing a fantastic job.
I
At
will tell
least.
you
Because
like just because
he announced a lockdown even before the central government did. He's been
absolutely.
asking offices to go on work from home. It's another story that they do not like corporate culture sucks and they did not allow it to happen. That's another story. But he went ahead and he asked everyone to work from home. And
Fair. That's true.
so I think he's been
I
doing a great job. What are your
Speaking
opinions?
of Uddhav Thackeray, yeah, absolutely. I really wanted to talk about Uddhav Thackeray. First of all, not really a big fan of Shiv Sena, to be very
Oh,
honest. But
absolutely. Neither am I.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, and most Maharashtrians of our age in urban India aren't for obvious reasons. It's a separate podcast of why we aren't fans of Shiv Sena in general.
Yeah.
Whatever reason, we'll go into that later. But my thing is, this time round, I mean, you have to clap for them, and you have to absolutely applaud Uddhav Thackeray. Absolutely
Absolutely.
brilliant leadership. And I never thought I would say that in my lifetime. But Uddhav Thackeray, I'm lucky to have Uddhav Thackeray as my chief minister. Absolutely
He
lucky to
comes
have
and
him
he
as my chief
speaks
minister.
in such a calm
Just
manner.
5 minutes ago, just 5 minutes ago, before like we got on this podcast, I was listening to Uddhav Thackeray's speech, which he just gave like a couple of hours ago, on like basically the same thing, right? And it was on the Shiv Sena official YouTube channel. Okay, so he live streams it on Twitter, on YouTube, on
Facebook.
Facebook, everywhere. He live streams every social media platform,
Mhm,
and उधर से ये लोग अपना न्यूज चैनल वाला लोग ले लेता है.
mhm.
ठीक है, so my parents watch it on TV, I watch it on my phone, and he cracks jokes. He reminds us of the gravity of the situation. He tells us whatever we are doing. Just now he updated me that Mr. Uday Kotak called him and gave him a few crores and said ki we are there to support you in whatever way we can. So he's updating everyone. He's updating everything. He even cracked a joke. It was a brilliant joke he cracked, by the way, which he said ki one very big guy basically called me and said we are fighting this together. आपण खांद्यावरची राहून आम्ही ह्याला लढतोय, and this guy is like, please खांद्याशी खांदा नका राहू, जरा लांब राहा. जे करायचं ते करा लांबून नमस्कार करावा. That is funny, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know how, because he's not panicking. I think Maharashtrians aren't panicking. You know,
Yeah.
I think that is a sign of brilliant leadership, and he has done everything what the central government did. He did it long back.
Long back,
He did it
exactly.
10 days before,
Yeah.
and in times like these, 1 day is equal to 1 month.
Yeah.
And this dude did everything like a week
Everything on that.
before. Everything he did a week before the central government did. Obviously, you can't compare state and central.
Yeah.
That is why I'll not take South Korea and Japan का example when talking about a country like India. Correct? So,
Yeah.
because मतलब उनको क्या है यार, मुंबई मतलब सिंगापुर मुंबई से छोटा है मेरे हिसाब से in terms of population. Correct?
Yeah. Obviously.
Like, I'm sure Mumbai has more people than bloody Singapore, so can't even compare. Anyway, the point is, I think in that case, and Mumbai being Mumbai, I don't know how the finance capital can stay closed for so long. Entire April, Mumbai will be closed in my eyes. They'll start opening things up in the month of May. Okay,
I
but
don't
one
think
day they will have to open things up.
I think it will go on till May end.
No, 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 they can't do that, boss. They cannot do that.
Because
Boss, come
dude,
on, the economy will take such a hit.
if you're saying April, right? You're saying April, correct? April end.
Yeah.
Why is the economic package considering 3 months? Why are they giving freebies for 3 months then?
Because,
I wouldn't even
see,
be
when they
surprised
open
if
things
it
up,
goes into June. Honestly, I
I'll tell
wouldn't be surprised if this goes on till June. Like at least partial lockdown.
I'll tell you, the complete lockdown will end in April end, and there will still be a partial lockdown in May. Okay, they can't open up everything one day. Like one day हो गया, ऐसा नहीं कि school start हो गया, school बंद हो गया. No,
Obviously, dude,
one
school
day,
shouldn't even open
धीरे
in like
धीरे
in
धीरे
the next
धीरे
academic year.
धीरे he's going to open up things. One day he's going to open up the gyms, then the swimming pools, then उसके 1-2 दिन बाद he'll open up the movie theaters, उसके पहले he'll open up the restaurants, but he'll keep the bars closed, then he'll open up the bars also, then he'll open up the cigarette gadapri also. You see, I'm talking about things that are close to my
Yeah,
heart.
in fact, I was going to point out how you're just talking about essential things for you, which are not really
Yeah,
essential at all.
not really
Like
essential at
movie
all. Like,
theaters,
I'm a
it
selfish.
makes no difference to you. It's Netflix now. Netflix,
I'm
fine.
talking
Uh,
I'm talking about
Dude,
gyms, I'm talking about swimming pools, I'm talking about bars and
Ra-
cafes and restaurants. All the
Ra-
things I give a shit about.
Ra-
Nothing else.
रामायण आ रहा है टीवी पे रामायण देख ले है ना
Oh God. Oh
dude
yeah.
रामायण dude
I'm seeing
रामायण
Ramayan memes.
no go ahead
No, I'm seeing Ramayan memes online, yeah.
dude
Which is like incredible. Like live tweeting of Ramayan is going on Twitter, on my feed at least.
Ramayan, you know what this broadcast of Ramayan and Mahabharat is like? What it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of how Roman, I don't know, emperors used to fill out stadiums and have gladiator fights
Hmm.
for the population to not focus on the problems. It is literally that. कि यार तुम लोग
Oh,
महाभारत देखो प्लीज
but see, honestly, अगर तूने लॉक करके रखा है सबको एक रूम में, तो might as well start some series for them to watch, yeah.
Dude, no, I think no यार dude, are you telling me there are not enough series out there for people to watch? कि मतलब रामायण और
It's a
महाभारत ही देखना है
distraction.
लोगों को.
It is a distraction. 110% it is a distraction, and there is nothing wrong with it, is what I'm saying.
I,
And yeah, Ramayana Mahabharat क्यों देखना है? Because all the family is sitting together, so maybe they are like, boss,
are you
like सब
no
लोग
listen?
बैठे हैं, तो वही देखो.
Are you sitting? You're not even watching Uddhav Thackeray's address sitting with your family together. Why would you watch Ramayana with your family?
Exactly, because I'm not watching anything else with them together. I might watch Ramayana and Mahabharat with them. I'm not kidding. Yesterday, a guy is telling me, boss, please call me at like 10 o'clock because तब तक रामायण भी खत्म हो जाएगा. I'm not kidding. And I just looked at
Listen,
him
no
like,
one's going to watch more
seriously?
than 3 episodes. Okay.
I know, that's true. That's true.
No
That's
one
true.
is
This
going
is
to
just
watch
a
more than
fact.
3, 4. ये ना, this is something novelty आ
It's a
गया है
fact.
अभी. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fact.
4 दिन दिखेगा, फिर people will like, I'm bored.
Yeah, but I remember watching it
Big,
as a kid and it was epic, bro.
बिग बॉस के रीरन लगा देता ना और लोग देखते हैं बट रिलीजियस सेंटिमेंट
हो तो रहा है,
पैदा
पूरा देश ही
करता
बिग बॉस कर रहा
है
है.
हाँ तो
पूरा देश
एग्जैक्टली
बिग बॉस ही तो कर रहा है.
दैट इज व्हाट आई एम सेइंग बिग बॉस के रीरन्स मोर पीपल वुड हैव वॉच्ड देन महाभारत एंड रामायण
Like, yeah, I think it's fine. Like, do whatever you want to. But yeah, in general, I am happy. Navi Mumbai has shown a lot of discipline here. Because I'm watching videos of other places like Kolkata, parts of Bombay and all, Bangalore, Hyderabad, where people are still outside. Yeah,
Uh,
is it? I think is the Mumbai police ka dar, which we know they will like tear a new one
yeah,
if we try and
yeah.
flout. I think it's the Mumbai police ka dar.
But you're not supposed to be scared of people who are supposed to protect you. Are you getting what I'm saying?
I understand completely. You're not supposed to also, but Indians do a lot of things we are not supposed to.
No, dude.
That's my problem.
Fuck times of global crisis. Even when I'm driving my car or
Yeah.
I'm on the bike, बाजू का मैं police आ गया, I'm scared even then. Like I'm wearing my
Yeah,
seat
same
belt,
here.
I'm wearing my helmet, I'm carrying license all the time. I'm still scared.
Same here.
So that image
Exactly.
needs to change a bit. ऐसे डर के नहीं चलता ना. Like you, a servant who's supposed to protect you,
Hmm.
public servant who's supposed to protect you cannot induce anxiety in you. Right? That's
I
not.
know.
You were
But
giving
yeah,
me an example of your watchman, right? Imagine
yeah,
you're building a watchman induces anxiety in you every time you walk out.
that's not something which should
Would you like
be.
that? It's not a good feeling at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Although, okay, we can compare it to a better thing, but in general, I think, how do you think it's going to happen? Like the state and central government, speaking of government response and all, how do you think this thing is going to finally end? Like, are they going to wait for a vaccine? Are we going to flatten the curve?
flat. I
Are
think
we going to? Dude, I think you and I will have to get tested. All of us will have to get tested very soon. I think they're waiting for testing kits.
testing kits. There's a Pune-based company which has testing for 800 rupees. But
How but loud सबको थोड़ी दे रहा हो.
I don't
They
know.
they they don't even allow you. You know what's the reality of testing? They are not even allowing you to get tested even if you have two out of the three symptoms.
Yeah,
They are like
because the
three out of three
ICM
don't have.
because the ICMR guidelines are such. I think ICMR will change the guidelines soon.
Ah, they will soon, na.
Because
That's my
testing
मैं
because
तेरे को
testing
बता रहा
needs
हूँ.
to be pumped up.
Yeah, 100% it has to be bound up. Look at America, bro.
20
1 lakh people.
tests per million is a joke right now for a
It
country
is
with
just pathetic.
a billion population.
Oh,
Population.
which reminds me, I know a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, Indians are immune to coronavirus."
Dude,
What are your
yeah,
thoughts?
please, please. I'm
No,
tired.
I'm just
I'm
asking.
tired of people saying Gomutra pee lo. Indians are immune. है ना? Summer will kill the virus. Like, matlab, people are talking as if this virus has existed for years and research has already been carried out. कि as summer hits, it's going to be done, which is not the case. No one knows. And
Yeah.
dude, Indians will find pride in anything. Honestly,
Yeah, because
so
वो है.
self-absorbed everyone. Like, he,
No, I think it's because we have very few things to be proud of many a times, considering we see so many things around us which we don't want to see, and then we compare it to like the outside world and our friends who are based out of US, UK, Australia, Canada, and then we feel यार हमारे देश में क्या है, and then you try to justify it by finding pride in the smallest of things.
best
At least
national
that's my
anthem
educated guess.
UNESCO awarded. Shit like
Yeah,
this, you find shit like this to feel good. And honestly, I don't even feel, I don't even understand why people feel small compared to their peers who are in outside countries. Like, why? Like, there's no reason to
yeah.
feel like yeah, inferiority. You're generating it yourself
I know.
and making
Oh,
things
yeah, which
shitty for
reminds
you.
me, like Indians. Oh, so there's one of the. So yeah, this will go out. By the time this goes out, I'll be posting it. I think a lot of people are finding it really difficult to appreciate our government in this point of time because we have done a much better job than most big powers. Okay,
Uh,
I feel so. Like if even if you look at the state government, like you and I agreed upon the fact that at least the state government has done a
yeah,
very good job.
yeah.
At least the state government has done an
Uh,
exceptionally good
And
job.
I'm not even letting my political choices
Yeah, influence
influence my
that opinion.
opinion, right? Because I'm not a Shiv Sena supporter. So, but still, I think it could have been better. Could have, because see, the other countries, right? Italy did not have much of a chance. Listen, by February 29th, I think the global cases had already reached 90,000, right?
Yeah.
And this crisis hit us after that. So, like the first few countries which were hit, I don't think South Korea I may agree with, but South Korea actually did a fantastic job. But we could
Bro,
have been
Spain,
better. We could have
क्या
been better.
ठुक गया है bro. Like I feel so bad for Spain. Like out of nowhere, what did the Spanish even do?
You know what I
Like,
find? You know what I find really sick?
yeah.
This is not it is actually a serious thing to consider. Barcelona board, okay,
Mm,
said
mm.
we are going to slash 80% of your salary so that we can take care of the lower staff, right? And we can take care of the city so that we can carry out donations to city hospitals. Dude, they said we don't want a slash. Dude, fuckers, you're making 300,000 euros a week.
Ah, yeah,
How can you not afford an 80% pay cut?
yeah. Because they are like Real Madrid isn't taking it, so why should Barcelona players take
How
it?
does it matter? You guys hate Real Madrid. Shouldn't you try to be better? You hate them on on sporting basis. You hate them on a political basis. Shouldn't you guys try to be better?
Humanitarian
Yeah,
basis also, you should do it. Yeah.
exactly, exactly, right?
That's actually quite shocking, but I think we need to wait until there is enough information. I think they will soon do something because Messi's PR team will come out and they'll be like, "Boss, no, we need to do something." Because Cristiano took a pay cut, by the way.
Yeah,
Cristiano took a pay cut.
he took a pay cut over the year, and he's taking 3.5
Yeah,
million euros less. So
yeah. 2.8 million pounds or something now he's taking, and he's putting, and he's actually donated money and he's helping out in whatever way he can, and that's not a good thing. It doesn't look good for Messi, man. I think
wow,
I hope these guys.
I love how you're getting like Messi and Ronaldo even into this.
Even into this,
Yeah,
yeah, I was just gonna say that कि
he's
यार
like,
Messi क्या कर रहा है यार? I
हाँ,
think the real goat is
what the
Cristiano.
fuck is Messi doing यार? मतलब गोट तो
Yeah,
अभी
yeah,
रोनाल्डो है, टैटू भी नहीं है
अभी तो
रोनाल्डो
गोट
का.
रोनाल्डो ही है. Exactly. क्या करेगा? The United fan हूँ ना. So you have to be shameless with the agenda.
Yeah, is that header, the second header from Messi, still hurting you?
It
Yeah,
still does.
still
Till
hurting you,
date.
my
Till
friend.
date. It's been 11 years. It will never stop hurting until
Still
we
hurts.
humiliate them.
Yeah, still
Still
hurts. I
hurts. Still
understand.
hurts.
So
Still hurts.
still hurts. I can see it. The mood is still fresh.
It's
No,
very fresh.
coming to sports
Yeah.
person doing humanitarian and being compassionate. What do you think of
Yeah.
Sachin?
Cricketers.
Cricketer. What do you think Sachin Tendulkar? What do you think of Sachin Tendulkar giving out only 50 lakhs?
Ah,
That
good
man is
question.
the man is worth 600 crores, by the way.
I don't know. I think at least a few crores would have
Dude,
been nice,
listen,
but then again, we are sitting in the chairs and demanding it,
and
so I won't go that far.
people call him God, by the way. So that's all I want to say. This is the second time I've been disappointed with him. The first time was when
When was the first?
Schumacher gifted him a Ferrari, and he asked for a.
And he sold it.
He did not sell it. Or you can do whatever you want with your gift, but he asked the government for a tax cut.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, यार मैंने थोड़ी खरीदे, मुझे तो गिफ्ट मिला. I'm like, dude, यार, stop complaining.
But I think he sold it later on. He
Yeah,
kept the Ferrari.
he sold it
He
to
kept the Ferrari.
he sold it to a merchant in, I
Yeah.
don't know which one he
Gujarat.
sold that in Gujarat merch. I think that was his BMW i8. But obviously, what are you going to do with a BMW i8 in Bombay? क्या करने वाला है तो?
उसका Bandra का bungalow is next level, bro. I've seen it बाहर बाहर से.
Dude, but 50
And
लाख ही है ना
so
वहाँ.
I just hope. Uh, That's a good point. I guess to each his own, man. I think जितना दे रहा है उतना काफी
Listen,
है
obviously,
नहीं है तो keep compromising.
I don't want to call him. Obviously, he's earned his money. It's his right. But come on.
थोड़ा और आता तो अच्छा लगता सर से.
Yeah, मतलब मुझे भी अच्छा लगता कि I'm personally going to donate to one of my friends' charity once my paycheck cashes in 3 days.
Okay, fair.
So I'm not.
Which reminds me, you can go through the Farmeasy ka link. They are crowdfunding money to buy N95 masks for doctors all over the country.
Yeah,
If you go on my Facebook, matlab, maybe that could help, like 200 rupees per mask or something like
all
that.
right. I'll check it out. Because I'm thinking of donating myself because I don't want to be an armchair activist. Yeah,
Hmm.
Sachin ne itna hi diya. I'm going to do my bit,
Uh,
which is what I can do. But what I'm trying to say is, if I had 600 crores, I think I would have
hmm.
given 5 crores. That's all I'm saying.
Ab- Absolutely.
That's all I'm
Absolutely.
saying. That's
Fair
what I'll
point,
say.
Nachiket. I think this has been a fantastic call where we have criticized everyone from Narendra Modi to, the major global powers to Sachin Tendulkar of all people,
Also,
including Lionel Messi. That's grade A armchair activism and commentary from Polki Pol.
also another point I would like to make before I cut this off,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
you pull the curtains, is I
yeah.
hope after this crisis, Uddhav Thackeray realizes that the Shiv Smarak is really not worth it.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
It's genuinely not worth it. It's worth 2,500 crores. I don't know how much a good hospital takes, but I think we can at least build two good hospitals in that much amount, right? So
Fair.
I hope he realizes that, because that Smarak is not going to help anyone. We have enough tourist spots in the city. Enough. Enough. We have the like enough. बहुत ज़्यादा है. So we don't need another one when there are better things to be looked after. I genuinely hope he realizes it. And that's it. That's my last point. That's the last one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great point. A podcast on that also can be done because it's there's so many points to talk about in the country like India. हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ होता ही रहता है.
Obviously.
But अभी कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है कोरोना के अलावा. And I think we are battling it well. I just want to be positive, and I'm sure we'll beat this. And once this is done, we'll meet up and we'll get drunk like it's nobody's business.
Once this is done, you're coming to Panvel so that we can carry out on hashtag podcast. There's new equipment
Absolutely.
already. Dude, we got in new
Oh,
equipment and COVID-19 came around.
oh God.
The weekend
No
before
worries.
Akshay went to Bombay, he bought new equipment for recording and crisis hit. So,
Fair. Not a problem. So it just gives us more motivation
yeah.
to do a proper session.
Thank
Thanks a lot, Nachiket.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Yeah.
Take care.
Dude, wash your
Good
hands.
night. Bye.